Hi, welcome to episode 201 of The Corner of Knit and Tea. I'm Laura, also known as Fluffy K on Ravelry, Fluffy Kira on Instagram and Twitter. I blog over at thecornerofknitandtea.com, and that's where this episode and every episode show notes will be. I have an Etsy shop called The Corner of Knit and Tea where I sell my handspun yarns. And we have a Ravelry group called The Corner of Knit and Tea. If you haven't come over and join us, you should. We have a knit along going on right now. It is the fall sweater, actually knit and crochet along. It is generously sponsored by Brown Sheep and hosted in my Ravelry group, The Corner of Knit and Tea. The rules are simple. You knit a sweater, any size, any weight. The only rule is that the yarn that you use must be Brown Sheep. Think anything. They have everything from Lamb's Pride to Nature Spun to their new Stratosphere and Prairie Spun DK bases. They have cotton fleece, all kinds of things, and knit a sweater between September 1st and November 30th, and you will be entered to win the grand prize, which is a sweater quantity of Lamb's Pride. And we also have some other great prizes from Eucalan and Knitter's Pride, and I will be donating some pattern prizes myself. So we have lots of good stuff going on. We have quite a few people in the group working on sweaters, and I have lots of progress on my sweater to show you today. So it has been 2 weeks since we last spoke. Last weekend I went to Chicago. My husband ran a half marathon there and I did a 5K. And then of course we saw my niece and nephew, who were delightful as always. They're growing up. Roxy will be 5 in another few weeks and Miles is almost 2. So it was kind of exciting to see them. We ran around the city quite a bit. Babysat them on Friday night and spent most of the day Saturday with them. And then we had our run on Sunday and came home via the train on Monday. So it was a quick trip, lots of pizza, lots of fun. The run itself was, I'd say, probably the worst one we ever had. It was down in Jackson Park and near Jackson Harbor. And it was infested with mosquitoes, like swarms and swarms and swarms. When we got there at before 7 a.m. to start the race, my husband started at 7, I started at 7:45. We were eaten alive, and apparently then there were about 13,000 runners. Most of them were in the half marathon, probably 10 or 11 of them were in the half marathon, and then the remainder were in the 5K. And apparently the swarm of mosquitoes followed all the people because my husband said he got bit all the way through the race. I got bitten quite a bit while we were waiting, which was not pleasant. But then once I started actually on the race course, it was fine because we moved away from the park and there was like kind of a lagoon in the park, and standing water is terrible for that. So that was probably not the most fun that we could have had. I did not break any personal records and neither did he, but we did it and we survived to tell the tale. So this week was a short week because we got home on Monday. I worked every day this week in various places. And then this weekend we've kind of been taking it easy. We did go out for a 5-mile walk today because we have more 5Ks and things coming up. In just a few weeks, my husband's going to do a half marathon in Kansas City. And then it's, I believe it's called like something, the I-35 corridor run. What we do is the 35 interstate runs from Kansas City up through Des Moines. And so he will run half a marathon on Saturday in Kansas City and half a marathon on Sunday in Des Moines, which does not sound fun to me. I will be going with him, and I signed up to do a 5K in Des Moines because as long as we're there, I might as well. And then I'm still trying to decide between the 5 and 10K in Kansas City. I would prefer to do the 5K. I should probably do the 10K. If you haven't watched before, I am not a runner. I am not even a huge fan of exercising. In fact, I walk most of these things and maybe a few short jogging sprints. But my husband signed us up for a trip to go to Ireland next summer. It was too tempting. He dangled Ireland in front of me, and what could I say? But it is an exercise trip, and we will have between a 5 and 10K every single day. So I need to get myself into shape to be able to do that and not feel like I need a nap afterwards. So that is the reason for my trying to get involved in all these things. It's good for me, but it does take away from my knitting time. So there is that. Anyway, so that is kind of a summary of what I've been doing since I last saw you. The other thing that happened this week, and it relates to tea, so I'm going to move us right through there, is this weekend in Kansas City, the Jane Austen Society of North America held their annual convention, and this year it was in Kansas City. And one of my lovely viewers, one of you, came to Kansas City to attend the convention, and so Linda and I met up on Friday, and there is a Chinese tea shop in the mall that's like adjacent to the hotel where the convention was. So we went there and we had a lovely pot of tea and some knitting and some lunch, and she was so sweet. She brought me tea from a tea shop in her hometown. So what she brought me was tea from Tea Source, and she brought me a mug. And the funny thing about the mug on the other side says, "Don't even think about putting coffee in here." So that's a pretty good tea mug. And then she brought me a couple different kinds of tea. This one is called Machu Picchu, and it is white tea with peach, and it smells amazing. It shows a whole variety of things in here, but it doesn't actually have a whole list of the ingredients. But this is Tea Source, and it is Machu Picchu. If you can see that, I'm getting a bunch of glare on the screen, so I can't tell. And that is in my new Tea Source mug that I won't even think about putting coffee in. Ooh, that is delicious. It tastes like peach. It smells like peach. I love peach. I wait for August for peaches. So that is delicious. So let's talk about the knits. I have a bunch of stuff that I can't show you, which is super frustrating for me. I did work on my sister's sweater, and I'm getting close to finished on it. And then thank you to the couple of you who contacted me. I am working on a new design, and so I'm working on knitting that sample up. And so those two things are taking some of my time, and I can't show you, but I do have other things I can show you. So the first thing is that I finished my socks, which are, I'm not even going to say fraternal, I'm going to say thematic. This was from my Zen Yarn Garden sock blank in Midnight Stroll. And that is their Superfine base, which is, I believe, 90% Superfine, Superwash Merino, and 10% nylon. It is delightful and bouncy, and these are my socks. Now, as I told you, the particular sock blank that I received, I had to do a photo shoot for them to capture some of it and then knit something out of it. And the sock blank that I received was actually designed to go with a shawl that they designed. It's called the Itty Bitty Pakodi Shawl. Pico, P-I-C-O-T-Y, Pakodi shawl. And it is a beautiful one skein shawl that has a picot edge, hence the name. And so it is actually kind of a gradient skein that fades from blue to purple. So I worked from both ends of the skein. The first sock I worked from the first end. I did the blue waffle sock pattern, which was actually written for DK, so I adapted it to be for fingering. It's a 60 stitch sock. Basically, it's just a waffle print, and then I did my standard heel flap and gusset and kind of an elongated rounded toe. So the blue one started out very blue and then went into blue and white and black. On the other end, the top, and it's hard with the monitor because it's looking mostly black to me, is actually purple. And so the top is a really dark purple, and then it moves down through purple and white and black. So as I said, they kind of match thematically, but they are not even what I would call fraternal socks, because fraternal, I would expect some of the colors to appear even if they didn't appear in the same places. However, those are done. I need to give them a good wash, and then I can wear them. They are super bouncy and soft, and I am excited about those. So that is a finish for September. So that is, I was excited to finish those. I finished those on the train on the way home. So next up on my needles is something you have seen before, and when we last left, I had finished the color work for the second time, and I don't believe that I had actually separated for the sleeves. So before we left, I separated for the sleeves. Let's see, you can see, I will just show you, they're short rowing in the back, which makes the back collar higher than the front collar, as you can see. And so I am now most of the way through the body. So I actually had a super productive time. I took this on the train. I took a book that I really tore through, and I just knit round and round and round and round. I am supposed to knit for 12 inches from the bottom of the armholes, and last I checked, which was a day or so ago, I was about 9 inches down. So I just have a couple more inches and then some ribbing for the hem, and then I am done except for the sleeves, and I am super pleased. It should fit beautifully, and I'm very pleased that I took the time to rip back the color work. The yarn on this is Brown Sheep Prairie Spun DK. It is in the cloudy, now I'm really gonna be, it's like Cloudy Day for the gray, and then it's gosh, why am I Coneflower for the pink. So yeah. Prairie Spun DK is a really nice, it feels kind of a cross between a woolen spun and a worsted spun. It is pretty lightweight, and it is a DK weight or light worsted, and which is what the shawl, which is what the sweater pattern called for, and I really, really like it. This is my contribution to the Brown Sheep sweater knit and crochet along, and the pattern is Humulus by Isabel Kramer, and I am really, really enjoying it. So it should be a good, comfortable sweater to knock around in. It should keep me warm in the winter, and I am excited to keep working on it and finish it. I hope to finish the body this week and then maybe start on the arms. Like I said, I have some other projects in play, so I don't know how quickly this will get done. Again, the knit along goes till the end of November, so I would like to get it done this month, but I have some time, so I'm just going to work through it and enjoy it. So that is my sweater, and made quite a bit of progress. So I was very, very happy with that. Taking the train up to Chicago is about 7 hours each direction, so there is lots and lots of knitting time, even if I do take a short nap. So next on my needles, I decided, since I have a bunch of sweaters and now a blanket on the needles, I needed a little bit of instant gratification. A few weeks ago, I knit a hat. It's called the Copycat CC Beanie by Emily Ingrid, and I knit one for Roxy in kind of a dark purple. And I took a picture and I put it on my Instagram feed, and my sister was like, "That's amazing, she's gonna love it, I love it." And I was like, "Do you want one?" And she said, "Well, I wouldn't turn you down." So I found some yarn. I actually technically ordered it because I didn't have a lot of worsted in my stash. This is Squoosh Ultra Worsted, which I found out about when I actually got a skein last year from Eat Sleep Knit. I joined their kind of yarnathon, and last year I got a prize, and I turned it into a hat for Miles. It was like a bright orange skein, and I really, really liked the base. So this is Event Horizon, that's what it's called. It's a teal, it's mostly a semi-solid. There's like some very, very subtle variation in the color, like maybe it was kettle dyed, but it's pretty solid, which is what I wanted for the pattern. And I just lost a couple stitches, so let me pick those up. Bummer. I am doing the Copycat CC Beanie for my sister, and I have gotten the double brim done. I didn't actually do the double brim for Roxy because it's kind of bulky, and I wasn't sure that she'd really need it. But my sister sometimes takes the train and stands out on the platform, and I figured a double brim for around the ears might be nice. And then I have just barely started into the rest of the hat. So this is the, like I said, the Copycat CC Beanie by Emily Ingrid, Squoosh Ultra Worsted, and one skein will make a lovely hat. So she's getting a hat, and of course she's getting a ginormous pom-pom, because who wouldn't want a ginormous pom-pom? And every time I ask her if she wants one, she's like, of course. So some instant gratification knitting and some knitting for walking around, since almost everything that I have on my needles at this point is a sweater of some sort or a blanket. It's just a lot of yarn to carry around. So this is great for me to throw into my purse for when I'm running errands and my husband's driving the car, which was yesterday, and also for running around for knit night and things like that. So that brings me to the end of what's currently on my needles. I do have one skein of yarn that is coming up for review, and I don't think I have showed you this yet. This is a skein of Mountain Colors. Here's the label. And it is their Twizzlefoot yarn, which is superwash merino, domestic wool, silk, and nylon. And one of the strands takes the dye differently, so it's like this cool barber pole yarn. So, and this is in the Snapdragon colorway. This was sent to me by Mountain Colors for review. So now that I've shown it to you in its beauty in the skein, I am going to wind it up. It makes me think of fall colors with that orange in there and the plum. I mean, it's not exactly Halloween colors, but it is kind of fallish. Anyway, I think I'm going to do a fairly simple sock pattern. I'm thinking about Mina, the Knitting Expat's London Bee Ridge, which is basically just a stockinette sock with some garter ridges in it. And so I'm thinking about that, and hopefully we'll get this done before the end of the month because I owe them a review. But again, that is Mountain Colors Twizzlefoot, and I really like it. It feels really, really good with all that silk and nylon in there. I'm not always super keen on... So I don't love mohair, and a lot of Mountain Colors sock yarn has mohair in it, but I'm really, really intrigued by this one, and it feels really, really lovely. I almost want to make a shawl or something out of it, but I think I will stick with socks because they will knit up fairly easily. So I'm excited to do this, and this will get wound this afternoon, and that will be another kind of walking around project that I'll cast on as soon as I finish the hat. So that is my knitting. Let's talk about spinning. Last time I was on the podcast, I showed you a cool braid of Hello Yarn, which was kind of pinks and purples, and pinks and browns and some yellow splotches, and it was superwash merino, and it was called Short and Sweet. And Short and Sweet is done, and it is really gorgeous. I need to wash it. I got some pretty decent yardage, and I tried plying just slightly lighter than I have been. Some of my skeins recently have been a little bit overplied, and so I tried plying a little bit lighter on this skein, and it looks like it is just going to floof up. There are some areas that are super like squishy, and so I think it's probably going to be like a DK or even a worsted weight, but I think I got pretty decent yardage, and it just feels like I spun it lighter and with a little bit more air, like less dense. So I'm interested to see what my yardage is for this one, and this will be going up in the shop, so I'm going to wash it and take some photos, and if it's something you think might interest you, it would make great accessories close to the skin. It would be an awesome cowl or hat. It would be fine for mittens. Also, because it is superwash, it would make a really nice pair of squishy socks. So I'm going to wash that and calculate the yardage and then get that up in the shop this week. So that brings me to what I am spinning this week, which also brings me to the episode 200 giveaway winner. As I said last time, I have a beautiful braid of Southern Cross fiber. This is, I believe, Shetland, in the colorway Troubled Water. And as I said, as I usually do in my giveaways, what I say is if you would like it and you would like to spin it, I will send you the fiber. If you would like me to spin it for you, I would be happy to do so. We had 34 entries, and the winner was Nifty Knitting Crafty Ninja. So if you would get in touch with me, and you can either email me at ldwcameron@gmail.com, or you can contact me on Ravelry at Fluffy K, or, well, don't contact me on YouTube, because basically what I need you to do is send me your name and address so I can mail you your fiber. You stated in your comment you think you'd rather have me spin it for you, so I will get started spinning that. It will probably be finished next weekend, so then I can mail it out to you. I will respond to your comment on YouTube so that you at least get some notification, and get in touch with me, and I will go ahead and spin this up for you. So I guess this will be what I'm going to spin this week. It is a beautiful braid. Shetland makes excellent socks or it's also nice and crisp for mittens. It depends how sensitive you are to fibers. It can be worn as hats and elsewhere. I find it a little too scratchy to wear like right against my skin, but mittens and socks seem to be okay. So I will be spinning that up and showing that off next week, and then it will go off to its forever home. So thank you for tuning in and joining me, and thank you for coming with me for 200 episodes. Some of you left really nice messages, and I want to thank you. This has been fun for me to do these episodes and to be able to share my knitting with people, and it's also kind of fun to know that other people are watching on the other side of the screen, because I'm just talking to a camera in my craft room. So it's nice to know that there are people out there watching, and it's lovely to meet you in real life. If you ever find yourself in the Kansas City area, please do send me a message, because I would love to meet you for tea or coffee or something at a knitting store or somewhere in the city, and spend an afternoon together. It was enjoyable to do that with Linda on Friday. And I think that is it. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget about the knit along, which will still go on for 2 more months. So it's not even quite October 1st yet. If you find yourself itching to cast on a sweater as fall is here, please come join us. And I will see you in approximately a week. I will say, as I always do, happy knitting, happy spinning, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time. Bye!